Oh, fighting games are not having a whole lot of news these past 2 weeks. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Uh, well, Phantom Break Aronia came out and has
Oh,
died
well,
already, I think.
stop the fucking presses.
Let me see. I did save a couple of discussions that we could have.
Well, there was Max put out a video on emergent gameplay, which I haven't watched, and I don't imagine you've watched it, but apparently part of what he boils it down to is bigger move sets equals better game. And some people were like, not necessarily, Max.
Yeah, it like it's once again we come back to the age old argument of, hey, I want more variety in fighting games. That's it. Like, give me games with big movesets and give me games with small movesets. Give me games with a fucking million characters and give me games with 12. Because evil is
The
the spice of life, like Rugel said.
the, okay. Okay. I don't know what Mike actually said. What I saw though was a Twitter thread by John Schwandu, which I assume you also saw because it got brought up on r/fighters.
Possibly.
Because we both browsed that, right?
Yeah.
And basically he was saying, well, movesets getting cut down, nowadays is pretty reasonable for a lot of cases because in a lot of cases it's cutting the fat. It's moves that honestly don't do anything. But the lack of depth nowadays is because more often than not, every move has a specific purpose it's designed for and can't really do anything else. So it very quickly just hypothetically it just turns into, did you actually like do the research to find out what move is appropriate for each situation? Okay, you know that. You know your combos. Okay, then the game is now entirely just like reflexes and prediction.
Yeah.
But there's little room for creativity with your moves that you have. I mean, like, for my part, like, I think there's definitely a reason to have such massive move sets because, I mean, because there are so many people who agree with you that more move sets is more content, even if the move sets are, just blatantly obsolete compared to other moves in that character's given move set. But I think the more important part is the thing of, well, yeah, nowadays so often fighting game characters are designed to have a tool for each tool for a specific situation. Don't bother using that tool outside of that specific situation, but they've got a tool for every situation, so it just becomes a battle of functions, right?
Yeah. Meanwhile, the things I like is that, like, whenever this sort of discussion comes up, I just think of Tekken. And in Tekken, people complain about the amount of obsolete moves, which is in a way fair, but also like I like the idea because I know that usually it doesn't happen, but I like the idea of, say, someone with less experience being able to turn the tables, even if accidentally, just because they pull out the move that you don't see. Because there are better tools, but that move also does the same thing as another tool that is more used, and you're not gonna be freaking ready for it. Usually, it's a nice skill check.
I mean, like the thing is, more often than not, most moves in fighting games, because the way fighting games work, especially Tekken, where there's back to block, I mean, there's not really much trickiness there can be there. Like every now and then, characters in Tekken will have mix-ups where it's like there's a high low off the end of this chain that could catch somebody. But more often than not, most of the moves in a Tekken move set are going to just be situations where it's not really that like it's not really that troublesome if you didn't predict the move would come out because you can just block it.
I mean, yes, at the same time, you like there's so many people fucking bitching about the amount of moves that are bad and yet still catch them off guard. And like, it's not an overwhelming amount, but still it's enough that that I'm like, well, that I don't get it.
It's Well, I mean, people always just make up excuses for why they lose. So I'll people can shove it up their ass. The I lost my point there because I was just angry about people. I do think that the relevant points for or relevant points against having what I the term I would use, I guess, is moveset bloat, but that makes it sound unnecessarily mean because I'm not really that strongly opinionated on it, and I do think there is value to it, especially for people who do hold your opinions. But I think the relevant argument against it are like the oh boy, I'm getting lost in thought here. Okay, I need to do more word, less think. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Boy, I was not ready to podcast today. And I ate food that's making me very gassy. So, oh geez, oh, we're off to the races today, aren't we?
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, the arguments to be made are for casuals, it's confusing, which I can agree with. I don't know that it's necessarily like one of the biggest problems that casuals actually face in fighting games, but I think is still somewhat of a relevant point. And for the opponents, it does come into the question of like, well, it gets to be a pain in the ass to learn matchups then because every character's got so many moves, right?
yeah, but both of those are true, but at least with the matchups one, like, so does Rage, at least for Tekken.
I mean, here you can't really argue against it just by saying, yeah, well, here's this system that I don't like. So if they want to get rid of one of these, they should get rid of the one I don't like.
No, they
Like
should
what?
get rid of both. Like, if fucking Rage goes, then they can take out all of the obsolete moves for all I care.
It's not a transactional setup. Uh, alright. Hmm. Like I think it's kind of just a non-argument because it's not so much a one. Like there are objective points to be had here, but there's also a lot of relevant subjective points. And I think
Yeah,
that a lot of times with fighting games, you need to understand going in. Some games were not built to appeal to your tastes; they're appeal to someone else's tastes, and those tastes can be opposite to yours.
yeah,
I mean, we hang around the same circle of friends, and we've all had. You and I have both had the times where we've been talking with, let's say, Mike or Ted, and they've said like, "Well, high speed video games are fucking stupid, and anyone who likes them are stupid because they're for ADHD." Yada yada yada. Ted and Mike's love hyperbole, right?
yeah.
And of course, like the thing we never say because we don't want to start an argument with Ted because then that's 10 pages, and we don't want to start an argument with Mike because then he'll just sling racial slurs at us. Is we make Mike sound so terrible in these podcasts.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, the thing is, he can be like he's a nice guy,
he slings them
but
with love.
yeah, no, like the thing is, like Mike is under all of his like traits, I guess. I don't know how to put it, like in all of his mannerisms. He's a nice guy, but he does have a penchant for going too far.
Yeah, but either which way, like the thing just simply boils down to like that is speed is a subjective thing in fighting games. You can be a fan of it or you cannot be a fan of it, and it can go the same way for slowness. Some people will play. I don't know what's the slowest fighting game ever because I don't think Sam Show is necessarily the most appropriate one. Though Sam Show is pretty
I mean,
close.
Sam Show is the best liked slow fighting game. The slowest would probably be like fucking Kung Fu Master or whatever, Karate Champion. At
Well,
least the one.
there's someone that there's got to be some people who think the fighting games haven't improved since Karate Champion.
Yeah. Oh wait. I don't remember Karate Champion's speed. Would Street Fighter 1 be slower?
Street Fighter One's pretty fucking slow.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
Well, Street Fighter One, the moves are fast in Street Fighter One. It's the jumping and moving that's slow.
That's true. I suppose like when I think of speed, I don't really think about like the actual attacks. I think about the movement, which is what like which is another thing that I brought up against Strive is that if the movement didn't feel gimped, I would be fine with the freaking with the way they changed attacking and stuff. But the movement felt bad to me.
Yeah,
But yeah, anyway,
and like,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, because like when I think of like Street Fighter Two like is a lot faster than Street Fighter One because you can actually fucking walk.
Yeah,
Uh, but some people are into that, and it's just that's just a subjective thing, right? There is no objective point you can point to as just like game slower, therefore worse. Like, no. Yeah. Like, speaking of objectively bad fighting games, hey, there's Street Fighter One over there.
Yeah. You know
Game's
what?
hideous, bugged out, entirely inconsistent pacing. There you go. Ah, what a
You know
great
what?
game.
I wanted to make or at least thought about making a review for it, but then for one, I would have to play through the game again just to have the footage. And also what the fuck am I supposed to say about Street Fighter 1? Like the review would need to be one uncut like 5-minute yell, and then it just slowly zooms in on Sagat. And that's it. That's the review.
I'm not sure it'd be entirely appropriate for the way you do your channel, but that would be a good upload just to mess with people.
Yeah.
Reminds me of you remember this was probably a decade ago now. Oh no, this is probably over a decade ago. But you remember how Nova way back in the day got real popular for doing Happy Wheels, right? But he stopped
Yeah.
doing it eventually
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because he understandably got sick of it. And on April Fools of like 2012, he put up a video called Happy Wheels Returns, right? And it's just it once you click on the video, it's just like a minute of James like laughing demonically as the screen slowly turns red.
Nice.
Oh man.
But
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah. Like a lot of these issues that we talk about with fighting games are very subjective though. Like it's like there is no objectively good subgenre of fighting games. Like there's traditional fighting games, there's fucking air dashers in that, there's the normal ones, there's fucking platform fighters, there's arena fighters. People will argue about the legitimacy of half of those, if not more, but regardless, there is no objectively good fighting game or subgenre. And that's pretty much any issue that comes up in fighting games, because like there is no right pacing. There is no such thing as a game going too fast or a game going too slow. There's such a thing as a game doing those things for you. Like Marvel is too fast for me. I don't actually know what's too slow. I guess funnily enough, I'm fine with Stem Show. I can have fun in Stem Show. I can't really have fun in like the first version of Street Fighter 2.
Yeah. Well, Street Fighter 2, like, also is a kind of a weird situation of like the hits do so much damage, and it's not like Sam's show where like only the crazy big slow heavy hits do that much damage. No, Street Fighter 2, you just get fucked.
Yeah,
If a throw connects in Street Fighter 2, the thrower wins without fail.
yeah.
And yet Zangief's the worst character in the game.
But yeah, because he has a command throw, and that's easier than proximity throws, obviously.
Yeah. Well, except for that, there is that one version of Street Fighter 2 where Geef it gets a complete 9-0 matchup against Honda, but that's it.
Now that's balanced.
Yeah, well,
That's how it was
I mean that
intended.
he just set up like a rock paper scissors conga line
Yeah.
of each of the fighters getting a 9-0 matchup.
Oh, that's the next step. Well, once we get tired of characters being functions, they just become rock or scissors or paper.
That's exactly what the John Schwandu Twitter page, fuck, I don't remember Twitter thread. There we go. Twitter thread ended with was him basically saying the trouble with having moves that have explicit purposes and can't really do anything else is that you're ending up with making the game just a big game of rock paper scissors.
Yeah.
And he specifically also said, like, well, okay, now imagine if there were like there were rock paper scissors, but there were 50 different hand combinations you could use, and each had a specific like relationship to each individual, every other one. And he said,
Rock paper scissors, but you're also trying to do water dragon no jutsu.
"Yeah, yeah, he, oh, it was ridiculous." Ah, I think we pretty well said the extent of what we were going to say here. At least partly, this is just bringing up a topic that I don't think will ever die, honestly.
as long as people think that their opinion is objective, this discussion will never die. Like, as long as
It's
people as long or let me put it better, as long as people they think they are the arbiters of truth, this discussion will never die.
well, we can't say that because there are objectively correct and incorrect opinions, and I would say that no one is like the complete arbiter of truth. But that doesn't mean at the same time that you should never argue and say somebody's wrong.
Oh yeah, no, true. I mean, just what? As long as people put their opinions on pedestals, I guess is a
As long as
as
people
an
get subjective matters and objective matters confused.
yeah, that's the best way to put it.
And I would say on top of that, it's also going to come down to a thing of as the follow the leader, right?
Yeah,
Because the reason we are in this situation is because fighting games have had a very strong trend in the last 5 or so years of trying to imitate Rising Thunder, even though Rising Thunder got killed in the cradle. So it's just been a whole bout of weirdness. I mean, the truth be told, the primary hope for fighting games going into this next year is that Street Fighter 6 does its own thing and doesn't try to copy the herd, which that's one of the good things about Capcom. Capcom doesn't. Well, during the bad years of Capcom, they were pretty bad trend followers, but other than
yeah,
that, Capcom's not so much of a trend follower. And meanwhile, ideally, on the other side, Project L will probably kill all other attempts at making fighting games more casual. Because I mean, what are you going to compete with fucking League?
yeah,
Like it's pretty well a situation like that, like with Project L, is pretty well one of the actual major league game developers stepping down and just going, "All right, let me show you all how it's done." Like I love lots of fighting games. Don't get me wrong, but we're a niche ass genre, you know.
yeah.
Like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Injustice, Tekken. Those are the only ones that get serious amounts of money dumped into them. The only ones they're taken seriously as anything nearing AAA games, realistically speaking. And even Street Fighter's kind of dropping out of that echelon there. And Tekken's just been away for a while now.
Yeah, that and Tekken also got its budget cut a couple times.
I could definitely believe that because I think we've mentioned this before, but every Tekken game was having massive graphics upgrades. And then around the time of Tekken like 6 to 7, it just stopped, and now the games haven't really changed in appearance since Tekken 5 at all.
Yeah. Like, I think the
So
6 I think 6 got a budget because of 5, and then Tech 2 didn't really get a budget. No, Tech 2 still got a budget because maybe 6 sold well because of 5, something like that. And then Tech 2 didn't sell good, so Tekken 7 got its budget cut.
that's that's one of those delightful Resident Evil situations, right? Because Resident Evil, every game sells depending on how good the previous one was, right? So Resident Evil, 5, despite being on the whole one of the more mediocre, in my opinion, outright relatively bad Resident Evils, sold like hotcakes because Resident Evil 4 was fucking amazing. Then Resident Evil 6 sold middling, not great amounts because Resident Evil 5 was middling, not great. Then Resident Evil 7, despite being amazing in a lot of ways, sold like shit because Resident Evil 6 was shit. So with Tekken, it seems we have the same effect. Because Tekken 5, amazing. Tekken 6, middling. Tekken Tag 2, great. I know you disagree with me. Tekken Tag 2 is great. Tekken 7,
I don't disagree with you.
Oh, I thought you hated Tag 2.
No.
Oh, all right.
I I I think that Tech 2 is fine. I I don't like the stages, and that's about it. The stages and the customization, I think 6 does better, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I would absolutely say the stages are the weak spot of Tekken Tag 2. The only stage in Tag 2 I really like is the Snoop Dogg stage.
Yeah. And then for 7, I thought disappointing overall.
Yeah. If they want to do a Tag 3 at some point, I think they kind of needed to just do like a best of the series' whole stages, right?
Yeah.
The only trouble would be they can't really do any from Tekken 4, right? Because Tekken 4 had those wacky stage setups.
I mean, they could, and then they could make it so they have Omega versions like Smash.
Yeah. I think that's a higher likelihood. I don't. I think that you'll just get the Omega version and you'll like it. Damn it.
It's all Final
Uh,
Destination. It always has been.
oh boy. I do have to commend instances like that with Smash where they finally can see it. Like, okay, we get it. The pro community doesn't want to play on any real stages. At the same time, we're sick of seeing nothing but Final Destination in tournament. So
So
fuck it. We'll just make a different skin for Final Destination for everyone.
yeah. Uh,
All right.
so yeah. Then in topics, I guess Virtua Fighter 5, the U version, sold really good apparently. Like
I
it's
am actually legitimately shocked.
so am I, and or at least like from what I heard, it exceeded expectations and is also doing well in Japan. So there may be a
Didn't
Virtua
it
Fighter 6.
didn't it launch on PS Plus?
Yeah.
That is massively inflating the numbers.
Yep.
With that with that said, they can still report that to investors almost certainly. And that's the kicker.
Ah, yeah, that's nice.
Because investors will hear, like, how much money did you put into this? And you got this much return in terms of copies? Oh shit, maybe we should look into a sequel.
Yeah.
Though dare dare I suggest they probably should not have gone with the blast netcode.
Yeah, but best processing.
Yeah. I mean,
You
it's good
you
to
go to
hear a fighting
Kutas,
game
but
do.
Nintendo don't.
Yeah. Never change, Sega. Never change. Well, if we're gonna see a newfound confidence in fighting games for Sega, this does beg the question:
When is
will
Sonic the
we
Fighters 2?
finally see a dream fighters mega mix? There we go. I haven't played as a Daytona car in years.
Ah, yeah. We get Sonic the Fighters 2, but the only playable character is Sonic.
Oh boy, they actually probably can't use a lot of those characters because of Ken Penders now, can't they?
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's something.
I mean, hey,
Not
look at
like
them.
Sonic doesn't have a million and one side cast
Yeah,
characters other than those guys,
I
though.
was going to say like you say that like you don't want to play as fucking Infinite or
Silver.
yeah Silver Memphis Tennessee, uh again Tickle. Who else? If they really okay pre-order DLC Manic and Sonya,
Yeah.
just the biggest fucking pulls. Sally Acorn is not here, but Manic and Sonya are because fuck you. Buy our game.
You know what might actually work?
Yeah.
If they did like Dragon Ball Fighter Z and half the roster is just different variants of Sonic, right?
Yeah, but one
You
of them is
got
Purple Evil Sonic from freaking Secret of the Rings or whatever.
modern Sonic, classic Sonic, Werehog Sonic, Sonic Boom Sonic, right? Keep going down the
Yeah,
line.
one of them is just Roger Craig Smith. He did,
One of them is
yeah,
I was just gonna say, one of them is just Urkel.
yeah. That's the Urkel and Roger Craig Smith are the freaking the ice climbers of the game, and they're both dressed as Sonic.
If they had movie Sonic and movie Eggman, then that would actually probably boost sales up considerably. I don't think they wouldn't be able to get the license for Jim Carrey's face, but hey,
But they could get the license for Jim Carrey's moves.
eh.
They call him in to do the mocap.
Not even to get his face or his voice, but they'll pay all the money to get him to suit up in a mocap suit.
Yeah,
Man. Could you imagine? Like, the Sonic the Fighters roster is pretty well entirely comprised of like characters who share more or less the same body shape as Sonic himself, right?
and there is. I wanted to call him Big, but no, that's a different character. What was the name of the bear? I don't remember. But yeah, there is the bear.
As strange as it would seem, if they had Big the Cat on the roster at the time, people would have gone, "Ugh." But if they announced Sonic the Fighters 2 now, pre-order bonus Big the Cat, people would be so much on that shit.
Yeah, especially if they get John St. John back. Or no, that's a
Every
separate. No. Big is in the game on launch, and then the pre-order DLC is just the the John St. John voice pack for him.
What is Big the Cat completely silent otherwise?
No, he has his new voice normally, and then if you pay more money when you pre-order the game, then you get his old voice back, or you can switch
Okay,
between them.
okay, and if neither of the people in the match are playing Big, then Big is somewhere in the stage hidden watching you.
Yes, but the game also has the Mortal Kombat environment interactivities, and if you find him, then you can tag him in.
Meh. No, you just throw him at them.
Like the old lady.
Yeah. And also like the old lady, if you throw him, he explodes into a shower of gore. I'm imagining like
that,
he's not even
that
like a proper rag doll or anything, like with animated limbs. It's just you're throwing a prop, Big
he's
the Cat.
he's T-posing. and and if you burn meter, then it does an X-ray.
On creatures with no like really identifiable inside. Okay, whatever.
Yeah,
Anyway, uh, yeah, I hope that Virtua Fighter 6 blows everyone's socks off. I don't think they have the budget to really pull off anything like that. The trouble is that Virtua Fighter as a series has always been identified as being like the peak of graphics in their era. And I don't think that there is a capability to do that with Virtua Fighter 6.
yeah. I mean,
Not only that,
if they can get Unreal 5, then maybe. But I don't know how much money that would cost.
well, I mean, except for Sonic, Sega's been doing pretty well lately.
I mean, even Sonic's been doing good, but only in the whatchamacallit, the like multimedia stuff.
Well, yeah, Sonic's been doing well everywhere except video games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, on one hand, I would respect it if they stuck to their guns on Virtua Fighter is over. Virtua Fighter 5 was the last Virtua Fighter. And it would be neat to see them try something else. At the same time, it would feel a bit silly for the last new game to feature the Virtua Fighter characters to not be a Virtua Fighter game at all, but Dead or Alive 5.
Okay, but hear this out. Fighting
That was
Vipers
a
2.
pained laugh right there. That was a pained chuckle.
Hear this out. Fighting Vipers 2.
I mean, anything new on the market could be interesting, I guess.
Yeah. What Sega and NetherRealm Switch, Ryuga Gotoku makes the new Injustice, and then freaking NetherRealm makes Virtua Fighter 6.
Oh no, an Injustice game where you can't hit any of the female characters.
No, he's gone. It's fine.
That is true. And I forget, did you say Ichiban is willing to hit a woman?
I've no clue. I don't think.
So I don't.
Yeah, go ahead.
By the way, I don't know if we want to leave this on the recording, but I don't know what to do with this situation. This being only a two-man podcast, I just step out real quick.
All right.
So if we want to, like, if you can pause the recording or
I
not, I
can.
don't know.
I can. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
And we're back. This was our
Yeah.
first. This was our first ad break.
Yeah.
Today's fighting games are brought to you by my ass. Boom boom. Yeah. Anyway.
There are 30 men in my ass.
Tonight, 30 men will enter my ass.
There you go. All right,
So
man.
yeah,
You know what? Like, here's another one of the fighting game stuff because we just brought up wrestling. Oh, for God's sakes, what is the dog going berserk about? Either which way, we've not had. Can you hear the dog?
yeah, but it's fine.
Oh, great. Because he ain't shutting up. The mailman's here, I think. Either which way, we ain't had a good fighting game style wrestling game in 10 years. No, since All Stars, because that Battlegrounds came out, and my understanding, it was shit.
Yeah, and now we have 2K22.
Well, that's a unique beast right there, ain't it?
Yeah. It's not quite
I'm
a
waiting.
fighting game. It's not quite a wrestling game. It's kind of just 2K losing the license.
I'm waiting to hear the take on it from someone other than Ted and Gramps.
Oh, Pink had a take on it.
And Pink.
Ah,
I love all three of those guys, but they're all willing to be very, 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 very forgiving with those games.
I mean, I can give you an uninformed take in just judging by what I've seen of it, if you want.
Well, I saw the combos.
Yeah, the combos like they from the looks of it, it has a weird flow. Like it doesn't flow quite like the old games, but it's fine. Like if once you get used to it, then it seems more or less natural. Like it's closer to Def Jam than it is to the old to 2K20.
So they've kind of realized they're never going to really be able to hit the proper simulation basis. So they're going to just try and go back and imitate Aki.
Yeah,
That I think is perfectly understandable. Yeah. Like, because no matter what, like, even though WWE is the biggest company in the world and they have an exclusive opportunity to present themselves as a simulator for that, they also have to understand it being the biggest wrestling company in the world means that the majority of people who buy these games do not want a simulator. They want to play a casual wrestling game as a wrestler they like.
yeah, and that's why you get 6 Rey Mysterios in this game.
Yeah. Two from what was it? Two from 2004 or something like that.
Uh, You get 2 from 2011. You get one that's just 2011, and
Oh,
you get one from December. Oh no, it's
oh
2000,
my
2000
God.
It's actually 2009. I'm wrong. Yeah, it's 2009. There's an overall 2009 Rey Mysterio, and there's a December 2009 Rey Mysterio.
Okay, that makes more sense. I was about to say, like, did Ray do anything in 2011 aside from winning the WWE Championship?
I mean, let's see, he got amnesia. He fought Jack Swagger in a mask. He,
Oh, that was all early 2011 stuff. Yeah, I was not there for that.
yeah, no, that's the road to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yikes.
no, that genuinely is the road to WrestleMania from SBR 2011.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I was about to say, like, I don't remember this happening in real life, but I wasn't paying that much attention to Ray at that time.
yeah, I have no clue.
Uh,
I have no clue what Ray was doing because when I started watching wrestling in 2011, he was shooting with Dario, and then we all knew what happened there. We all know. But yeah,
nothing.
yeah. I mean, Dario went to be a piece of shit. Ray lost the title in a day, like in the same. Ray lost the title in 20 whole minutes as John Cena came out and went, "Lol, no," and took it back,
Yeah.
and then
That
that's
felt
about
like
it.
one of those odd situations where they're trying to like WWE always has a thing where they're trying to break old records and replace them with new ones to make it seem like the best era is now. That almost seemed like they were trying to break Andre's record of shortest time as WWE champion, but they lost it by a mile.
Yeah.
Also to Cena of all people at that time where Cena hate was at its peak. That one seemed like it was almost just a deliberate fuck you.
Yeah.
And do they have any WCW Ray matches in that game?
Oh, they have one against Eddie.
Against Eddie, okay, so that way they can excuse the fact that they've still got Mullet Eddie in there.
Yeah.
Oh,
They
I'm
went to
just not a fan of Mullet Eddie, you
they
know?
yeah. They went through the trouble of making all of the WCW crowd actually have WCW shirts, except for Eddie's, which is his "I'm Your Puppy" shirt.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
No, you don't understand. He's always been saying he was Dominic's dad. It's just that what took him 5 years to do anything about it.
yeah, it really didn't get it. When they were teaming, they just didn't get it.
Yeah. All right, Eddie, you ready to go out there and do that match? Yeah, you bet I am, Ray. By the way, I'm Dominic's real dad. Oh, funny, Eddie. I didn't even do the proper Eddie voice for WCW Eddie. WCW Eddie, you got to be like, yeah, I'm Dominic's father, Ray. Yeah.
The real thing is the biggest thing they missed out on is fucking overalls mask class Ray.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, that was a Kevin Russo decision, wasn't it?
I don't know.
Okay. I gotta look that up. I don't want us to talk about wrestling for too long because I know us. We'll talk about wrestling for the next hour.
Yeah,
But I gotta look up Rey Mysterio unmasking. Okay, and let's see. And they even had Conan unmask him.
maybe. I don't remember.
Yeah, they lost a hair versus mask match against the Outsiders.
Ah,
So rest in peace, Scott Hall.
yeah.
And so Conan had to take off Ray's mask. It was 99. And let's see. When was, oh, excuse me, Vince Russo booking WCW? Russo signed on with WCW in October 3rd of 1999. So let's see, when was the exact date of the unmasking? Halloween Havoc of 90s. Wait, no, that's not it. Okay. I just read the first thing I saw and didn't even think about it.
Yes, Ray was unmasked at Halloween Havoc 96 in 1999. You see the
Supposedly,
yeah, go ahead.
supposedly it was Scott Hall's idea because he felt that Rey Mysterio was too good looking under the mask to be wearing a mask.
Ah,
Gotta admit, in the last couple days, there's been circulating a bunch of stories of Scott Hall being the mind behind a lot of great angles in wrestling. That was not Scott's best work.
yeah,
There sometimes you gotta understand you preserve the mystery, and the mask was a vital part of the identity. But okay,
yeah. And now Ray freaking like 20, nearly 30 years later, Ray's going the other way where he's wrapping himself up as a mummy and putting Riddler question marks on himself. No one needs
he's
to
been
know.
doing that, but he's been doing the weird question marks bit for a while. Something happened to Ray where Ray decided he was just going to be cosplaying Batman villains for the rest of his life.
I mean, he lived long enough for himself for him to see himself become the villain because he used to
Yeah.
cosplay Spider-Man if you remember.
Oh God.
Yeah, freaking. I well
Whose
he's
idea was it that a
yeah
guy named Mysterio, let's take off his mask, but he'll still be called Mysterio? What?
yeah that's the thing like his gimmick right now just seems to be the translation of his name into English because from what I remember Rey Mysterio just means mysterious king.
Yeah. Um.
So 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 that's probably why he has the Riddler outfits and then calls himself the greatest mask of all time.
Yeah. With a big fuck you out there to Mil Mascaris, I guess.
Yeah.
Or El Santo. Either which way. Let's get back to fighting games.
Yeah, so there's gonna be a new fighting games roundtable on the
That is
21st.
actually fairly big news, yeah. Like, it's rare that we get these kind of valuable insights into what a lot of Japanese developers think over here in the West, you know?
Yeah. My favorite part of those roundtables is that I didn't like the translation in for the 15 minutes that I watched, so I've watched both of them in Japanese. I don't speak Japanese, but
Eh,
I understand enough to enough to know when Harada is trolling. That's good enough.
eh.
I really liked how Ono wasn't there for the first one, so we just printed out a picture of Ono and duct taped it to his webcam.
Well, what do you know? Ono ain't gonna be there for the second one either. How about
And
that?
this is the third one actually, but yeah, he wasn't there for
Oh,
the second one, or the third one now, unless,
yeah.
unless he calls him
Weird
in.
how these things happen.
Yeah,
So I feel like there's of course going to be plenty of topics for them to talk about and plenty of topics that several of the developers will want to dodge. How long do you think it'll be before one of them, before Harada asks the inevitable silly question for the Street Fighter guys of, "Well, can you tell us anything about Street Fighter 6?" And they just kind of have to awkwardly go, "No."
what if they announce that Dante's in?
Yeah.
But he,
Well, I mean,
yeah,
considering what we saw in Street Fighter 5, Dante could be in at some point.
but I really hope that that Street Fighter 6 will have a better art style. I don't even know what the exact problem was with Street Fighter 5 visuals, but I just hope that they can do better.
Street Fighter 6 looks like it's going to try and keep the same exaggerated physiques of 5, but now with realistic lighting and texturing. So it's just going to get real weird.
Yeah. Well, what's the Danny DeVito quote? I lived for 40 years like this. I decided to get real weird with it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, they're coming up on 40. They are coming up on 40. God damn. Wow. Ugh. Oh, God. I guess it's Street Fighter 1 that's coming up on 40, but man, Street Fighter 2 coming up on 40 ain't going to be long after that.
Yeah.
And fuck, not long after Street Fighter 2 turns 40, it's probably going to be 6 years before I turn 40. Wait, how does this math work? Shit, I'm 24 this year. I'm going to be 40 in 16 years. My life's getting away from me, man.
Yeah.
Either which way. So, yes, Street Fighter 6 will inevitably be brought. Did we mention that Hot Ryu is now the canon design?
I don't think we did. I said that Luke looks better, and that's about it. That's all we discussed about those 5 seconds of visuals we saw of Ryu's back.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we should bring it up real quick, which is not that Ryu's physique looks ridiculous in that trailer. I prefer he's a little skinnier. But other than that, I am very happy that Hot Ryu is now the main design.
And what matters
Having your
more,
characters
what
visually
what
evolve is
matters
good.
what matters more is that he stole Akuma's shoes.
Yeah, can't have shit in Japan.
I really hope.
I hope.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just saying, I really hope they continue the trend of evolving character designs. Right?
Yeah, that's Kuma.
Like Akuma, I'm really interested to see. Akuma, I think we both have agreed by now. We want the Lion Mane can probably go, and also Dad Akuma. Dad Kuma is probably an interesting avenue to go down.
Yeah. I mean, either make him that Kuma or have him be like, have him actually like go further into the Satsui no Hado, like have him look more feral. And I don't mean that. I don't mean
Uh,
that doesn't give him a main. I mean that actually like have him change stances and like, have like more legged clothes and shit.
that's a good question. The thing is, for one thing, I feel like Akuma's had more of an arc over the last 20 years of them making him more sympathetic than less. And the other thing is them splitting off Evil Ryu from regular Ryu, and now he's Kage. Almost makes one wonder if they do the same thing with Oni, right?
Yeah.
Because if they have Akuma get like more tame, but then they also bring Oni back, then they can kind of say like, well, eat your cake and have it too, right? Best of both worlds.
Yeah. I mean, what all I'm saying is I want a more interesting Akuma design because he's been in the Black Key for all of existence, and he that,
Yes.
and I have yet to see a good Akuma costume in any game, any of them.
I'm a fan of when Akuma takes the sleeves down on the gi. It's a simple thing, but when it's just shirtless Akuma, I like that. But then I also like shirtless Ryu, so
Yeah.
they can't really do that.
I mean, I think like I feel like they could do shirtless Akuma if they made his prayer beads bigger. Like just make it so it
Yeah.
goes across his chest. That shit would look rad.
Here's one thing I'll say. I want everybody's designs to continue to evolve. Chunner's is the one that I think there is no chance they ever really change her design.
Yeah.
Chunner's is probably the most iconic Street Fighter character, just flatly ever.
But what if they make it so her default is the alpha costume this time?
See, I love the alpha costume, but I just can't see it happening, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, like maybe they do it if they emphasize the sex appeal of it, because there is some art of alpha chunners
I mean,
out there.
here's the thing.
Uh,
Here's the thing. If you put in Alpha Chun, then you don't need to put in the scuba costumes because it's pretty much the same thing. Just freaking with like the scuba costume would be like thicker. So
eh. Oh Jesus! I mean, like there are some characters that I have to wonder if, like, where can you go, right? The sky is the limit, of course, but like Ken already in Street Fighter Five had a massively different design than he has had before. So what can they really change about him?
2010 Ken.
You mean Captain Commando?
Yes.
And Guile, poor fucking Guile. What can you really do with Guile, other than just putting him in a different military uniform?
I mean, they can let him grow his hair out and then put him in a red onesie.
What? So he looks like a mushroom?
No, so he looks like Ash Crimson.
Oh, oh, you mean as in like his hair would get longer, like
Yeah.
going shoulder length? I see. I see. I was imagining that Guile's hair getting longer would just lead to the plume getting bigger, right?
Ah, no. If they go that way, then just put him in like just give him Polnareff's clothes at that point.
Well, I thought Giles' hair was more Stroheim.
Yeah, yeah, it is. But I mean, we don't want to associate with Stroheim.
Nobody does. My understanding always was the Polnareffs of fighting games were Paul Phoenix, of course, and Benamaru.
Yeah, very much more so. But yeah,
I would like if one day they introduced a Benamaru costume in KOF that doesn't change anything except extending his hair off the screen so he looks like Doug Dimmadome.
but it's so big that's true at all times, no matter where you are on screen.
Yeah. And make it where you know that the round start animation where his hair is down, he zaps it to put it up.
Yeah,
Make it so that there's just so much hair it covers the screen, and then you hear a zapping noise and it forms in the tower, and you can actually see again.
I'm just imagining his spinning attack getting active frames on the whole hair.
I'm imagining it not, and the hair just clips through everything.
I don't know which one would be funnier, honestly. 'Cause, on one hand, it clipping would look funny, but at the same time, actually, it actually breaking balance. Just so you can see people with the
Yeah.
hair would be
Well,
so
the thing is,
dumb.
then you'd have to give him like an equally proportionate single leg, right? And then he just turns into a helicopter.
Yeah,
He just flies off screen, and the opponent wins through ring out.
yeah. If Benimaru does his DOA thrashing move, where he flies up in the air and wins with it, then he starts the next round as a flock of falling powder figures.
He just turns into geese in the
Yeah,
midair. The only foe that could possibly challenge this strength would, of course, be the UFO Brian.
yeah.
Uh,
Orochi Brian, who stands in one place and summons pizzas.
he's in permanent flight. You're just controlling him like a Galaga ship or whatever.
But what does he shoot?
Pizzas.
True.
If you If you get your Brian Battler caught by a grab and then you beat him after grabbing, then you get 2 Brian Battlers.
Yeah. Shit.
Uh,
So yeah. Uh, what can we look forward to in the thing aside from Street Fighter 6? Because yeah, I mean, uh, Strive is getting news
I
in at Arc Revo, so and that's also this weekend. So they wouldn't have news to give.
I don't expect any of them will prioritize, like, real, actual, like, announcements because that's not a big, platform for it.
Yeah, that's
Except maybe
true.
for anyone who can't do any better, like French bread. But I do think that there will inevitably be a lot of talks about Strive. Because Strive would have to be the elephant in the room for Japanese developers, you know?
Yeah,
I think Rollback may get brought up as well, but it's probably going to go down a bit differently than it did last time. Because by
yeah,
now, almost all of them have accepted it.
yeah.
Makes me wonder if anyone will ask Harada, and Harada just simply says 3.
I mean, probably he's probably sick of being like, hey, freaking like she like the old shit can't handle it.
No,
Tekken
it
8,
cannot.
Tekken 8 may have rollback, like a proper rollback. Oh, at least as long as it's next gen exclusive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no matter what, I think Tekken 8 has to be next gen exclusive. Like, regardless of whether or not they've got the budget for it, they will try and push forward what graphics elements they can, right? Because with Tekken 7, they did not have the budget to give like crazy intense models and shit for everyone like they had in past games. But with Tekken 7, they did try to buff up the lighting, though it didn't actually make the game look all that much better.
Ah, yeah, true. The one thing that okay, the one thing that Tekken 7 is better at graphics wise than its predecessors is cloud physics. That's it.
What did you say? God physics?
Cloth.
Cloth physics. Okay, I thought you said God physics. I was like, well, I'm not sure how the physics of God work.
That's your problem for being immortal.
Yeah. I thought it was like, is there some new variation of God rays I've not heard? Is there new tech here?
But yeah,
Um,
Tekken 7 also like I don't know if you noticed this, and it is in my opinion a part of why Tekken 7 doesn't look as good as its predecessors, which is that Tekken 7 heavily utilizes film grain. And you know my thoughts on film grain.
I have not noticed. No,
Yeah, I don't know if it's
the only game I
okay.
have ever noticed having loads of film grain was Left 4 Dead 1.
Yeah, I tend to notice film grain because most of the time developers can't keep it in their pants. Like there is an amount of film grain that's fine, and even sometimes the amount that developers tend to use can be fine as long as there's a justification for it. Aside from we didn't really feel like doing better graphics, or we couldn't.
Eh.
But uh, with Tekken, I noticed that in half of the stages that I remember, like because film grain, you don't need to spend too much time on a still frame to be able to notice film grain, in my experience. And Tekken 7 uses not too much, but enough that it's distracting. And it doesn't go away during gameplay either. It just gets blurred because, motion blur exists.
Yeah.
And I really hope that in Tekken 8, they either don't use film grain or just allow you to turn it off. Because fuck film grain, especially the amount that they use it at.
Eh.
But yeah, that's my film grain rant for today. Come back next week when I do it again. But yeah. So let's see. Did I gather any other interesting topics? Hmm. No, that's more of a general video games thing. Technically, it could apply here, but I think we've said most of the things that could be said similarly, just when it applies to fighting games. Did we talk? Oh no, we did. We did talk about the freaking Dark Circles thing.
Yeah. Of course, that's just going to be a occupier of my thoughts with fighting games for a while because I'd like to see more of just oddball stuff like that from
Yeah,
Capcom. You
did
know,
you want more Stardockers?
I do more Stardockers. That just sounds like a shoe brand. Stardockers. Got my new pair of Stardockers here. Watch your step and don't need you smudging them.
Yeah. Did we discuss Persona 4 Arena getting rollback?
I I I don't remember bringing it up. I don't know if there's a whole lot we could say other than good. You know,
Yeah. I mean, I
like
suppose
the
here's it. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean the thing is like Arxis has already had their fuck ups with rollback. So I mean I'm definitely more confident in their
I
capability to
mean,
implement rollback now than I was in the past.
do we
And,
know for certain that it's Arxis doing it and not Atlas doing it internally? Since I didn't see an Arxis logo in any of the trailers.
well, they'd have to have an Arxis logo on the trailers because they made the damn game. Atlas just published it. I don't think you're allowed to like use a remaster to erase the name of the actual developers of the game. The Yeah, it would be a part of the question is would be how it would be whether or not Atlas is handling that, but I have to imagine that Arxis is involved because they developed it, so they're going to know best how to remaster it. Just makes
Yeah.
sense to go back to the source. And Arxis, for their part, have already demonstrated connections both to the former Mike Z guys, Lab Zero guys. Which did they rename themselves after Mike Z left? Because I'd have to imagine they did.
No.
Uh,
Wait. I'm forgetting exactly how it happened. So Lab Zero got bought out by another company while Mike Z was there. The Mike Z stuff happened. He fired everyone, and then the external company hired them all again. And then I think the external company also bought the IP rights, but they definitely bought the rights to Schoolgirls. I don't remember if they bought the rights to Lab Zero, the Lab Zero name. I think they may have.
for simplicity's sake, we'll say they've still got that connection to the Lab Zero guys. And do they have a connection? No, the Code Mystics is SNK's guys for rollback.
Yeah.
But either which way, they've got connections. So yeah, it does come down to whether or not Atlas would try to handle it internally. But for them to have done it at all, I'd imagine that it was a matter of simply going to Arxis and saying, "Hey, remaster this shit, assholes."
Yeah. What is this new Persona game everyone's talking about? Says Atlas.
Eh, they're perfectly aware of it. It just takes them a while to do anything with it. They got
Yeah.
plenty of hype built up around it, though. I have been very pleased by the art they've released of all the Persona protagonists standing around. That's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's so weird seeing them all lined up though, because to be honest, the Persona One protag gets lost in the crowd pretty easy.
Which
Everyone
one?
else has pretty distinctive. I know just the one. There's only one Persona One
Oh
protagonist.
yeah, I'm mixing it up with two because that has both.
Yeah,
That has two of them.
like all the other protagonists have fairly distinctive designs, and then Persona One protagonist is just. I mean, they're all anime boy with pretty hair, but Persona One protagonist is the most generic variant of it.
I mean, I don't even remember if the Persona 1 protagonist has an actual design in game.
He d- he has one on the cover of the game. I'll tell you that much.
All right, I own that game. I could check. I'm just too lazy.
Yeah.
But
Oh
yeah,
man, last
yeah, go
night
ahead.
while I was playing Dead by Daylight with the guys, right? The question came up of how old is James Sunderland? Because Mike was playing James. And I was like, you wait right there, gentlemen. I've got the Silent Hill 2 manual within arm's reach. And I went to all this trouble to peel through the manual, and while I was also getting attacked by Sunkiller, I don't even remember. After so much work, I went to check, and it's just like, all right, guys, I am pleased to announce that the Silent Hill 2 manual does specifically include the ages of all characters in the game, and specifically goes to the trouble of listing all of their ages as unknown.
Nice. James Sunderland confirmed to be years old.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess this could be an interesting topic. I don't know. It's what I found. So somebody posed the question: should Street Fighter 6 have a guard meter? It depends.
It depends on how they implement it, yeah. Like, it also depends on how much overlap there is with other mechanics. The thing you have to be spooked about here is, do the meters get too confusing at some point? Because there definitely got to be a bit of that in both Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5, where when you had the super meter and the ultra meter, or the super meter and the V meter, it got to be a little bit confusing sometimes.
Yeah. For my part, it depends on just how aggressive the game is, because you could justify, like, if they do if they do something closer to alpha speed, then that could justify a guard meter, I think, if they implement it right. Which I don't think the alpha implemented it right, but
Yeah.
but still, they could justify it then. Something that's more like the speed of 3 or 2, I don't think a guard meter is necessary, really. At least as long as people have enough tools to be able to mix other people up. You know.
I'm actually not entirely certain what you mean here. Why is it like more? Why is a faster game like Alpha worse for mix up?
It's not worse, but in that one, I tend to associate faster gameplay with more aggressive based gameplay, and then more or slower gameplay is more methodical and thinking things through and shit. So if you want to promote a more methodical gameplay, then a guard meter is not really necessary, because then it's just a way that defenses worse just overall. Whereas
Yeah.
in a faster game that's more aggressive based, while I wouldn't necessarily call it a good idea to have a guard meter, at the same time you can justify it better because you shouldn't be fucking blocking, asshole. You should be punching right now.
For my part, like, I don't really care because I can't think of a game where a guard meter has actually come to be relevant. Except maybe like Guilty Gear because it increases the chance. Excuse me, Revelator specifically because it increases the chances of danger time, which is bad for everyone except Slayer. But other than that, I can't think of a fighting game where I've really been like, oh, I gotta watch my guard meter. You know?
Yeah, I mean, traditional fighters don't tend to use guard meters all that well. Arena fighters can, but then in arena fighters, guard meters vary
There's no mix
between.
up.
Yeah, that and also in arena fighters, guard meters vary between way too fucking sturdy and basically non-existent. So
Yeah. The I think part of the thing with Street Fighter is it feels a little bit odd to have a guard meter to begin with in Street Fighter because you have stun, right? The stun meter.
yeah,
It's just, I think, yeah, it's just kind of odd. I don't think it matters that much unless they overlap it a ton with other mechanics, right? Because I'll be honest, like I almost never used V reversals in Street Fighter Five, which to my understanding is my mistake because supposedly V reversals are quite good. But V meters seemed rare, especially for more characters rather than others. I very rarely just remembered to use it at all. So it would be interesting if there was some kind of situation like how BlazBlue runs their guard meter, where you can actively spend guard meter faster for better defensive mechanics, but it's a risk because if that defensive mechanic doesn't work, then you have less capability to block.
yeah. The V system just overall seemed very badly thought out to me, because it's like, to me it felt like it promoted settling into one way of playing the game with pretty much any character, and then not really moving from that all too much, not even depending on switching characters and shit like that. Because like with Akuma, I got used to just having a shit ton of meter at all times and never fucking using it, because I need that shit to actually do combo and do damage. So
Yeah,
like so like
that
and
gets to be kind of a thing.
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that definitely gets to be kind of a thing with Akuma, especially because Akuma's got the whole V trigger thing, like save your meter because you want to do big combo once you're in V trigger. And I think it's also just kind of like makes every character feel a bit samey to have every single character have a fucking dragon install devil trigger style super, right?
Yeah.
Very few characters did not get something like that. And for most of the characters, it was really hard to remember what they actually got. And some characters, it was just kind of useless stuff, anyways. Ryu's V trigger that just gives him increased chip damage. Whoopie doo! I don't give a shit.
My favorite is I don't know which character it was. It may have been Vega, who has two not V triggers. He has a I want to say that both of his V skills are anti projectile, and then also one of his V triggers is also anti projectile because fuck your zoning.
Yeah,
That's non-existent already anyway.
yeah, and of course, it's also worth mentioning it's really questionable to put that on Vega because it's not like Vega was ever a character who suffered against projectiles.
But yeah, but I
Vega has
suppose.
more of a problem with anti-airs.
But yeah, but I suppose that I suppose we can justify it on Vega easier because he flips already all over the place. So if he gets a KOF dodge that's on a V trigger, then it's fine. It's in character.
Yeah, I mean, like, the V skill system. I thought this at the time, and I still think it. I think a lot of the V skill system is just an excuse to force the introduction of a new special move for every character, except Cammy, who just had one of her normal special moves moved to V skill for some reason. And I liked that because I thought it was nice to try and freshen up move sets. And I think for a couple characters, I think there are good several characters in Street Fighter who I think should keep one or two of their V skills as just a regular move going forward, right?
Yeah,
Because Guile being able to do air sonic booms is such a massive change to his playstyle that gives you more of a capability to switch between being such a defensive zoner as Guile and occasionally playing more aggressively, you know?
yeah.
And there are certainly some V skills that I think we can comfortably lose, and it's not the end of the world. Ryu never really got use of either of his V skills.
I really like Akuma's V skill. That's like half of a bike can parry, and then you also need to still do the input to do the attack, the one attack that you can do out of it, and it sucks.
Yeah, there was definitely just lots of questionable choices in Street
Yeah.
Fighter 5.
I also really like how Akuma's usable V skill is just his taunt. Why not? I suppose there are worse ways to have that taunt back in the games.
Yeah, especially because when Akuma came out, they didn't have taunting altogether.
Yeah.
Weird that they did not add bring taunting back until like the last update. Was it like the last update, or was it the update where they added Dan? Because with Dan, that at 100% makes
I
sense.
think it was with the update, with the Dan update.
Yeah, that makes sense. Hopefully, Street Fighter 6 launches with taunts. Never
Hopefully
thought I'd
Street
have to say
hope
that.
hopefully Street Fighter 6 launches with content.
Yeah, yeah, that one. I'd hope that either they've learned their lesson on it, or they'll just launch free to play. Like, make one choice. Do one or the other. Do not try and do neither.
Yeah.
Do not try and expect people to pay for a what, for all intents and purposes, was designed as a free to play game. Either which way, I hope that Capcom has learned their lesson on that one because the first 2 years of Street Fighter 5 were so disastrous for everyone, and they went to the trouble of firing Ono. So I'd assume they're at least partly aware. Okay, Street Fighter 5 made some fuck ups,
Yeah.
and then that last year of Street Fighter 5 content was like so well received. So I think probably by now they recognize, okay, we messed up here. Let's keep the current program going. Does make me very curious to see what we're in for here. Cause I wonder, like Street Fighter 6, I think, like, of course, there's the ones we always know we're gonna get. We're gonna see Ryu, we're gonna see Chun, we're gonna see Guile,
We're
yada
we're
yada
gonna we're
yada.
gonna see the classic World Warriors aside from Akuma.
Yes.
He's gonna be season 1 DLC again.
Well, I would not say that they'll all be there on launch. Honda, I think, is virtually guaranteed DLC at this point because he's the one odd one out of the World Warriors that isn't so iconic, right?
Yeah.
Blanca, it's difficult to say without Ono there.
Blanca,
Uh,
Blanca will miss the game just to spite Ono.
yeah. The game's opening cutscene starts with narrator going, Blanca is dead.
No, 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 no. The opening cutscene of the game is just the recording of a modern GTA 5 thing where Johnny is replaced with Blanca and Luke replaces Trevor.
Yeah. See, now I didn't like that in GTA 5, but I'd be very amused by it in Street Fighter 6.
I mean,
Oh,
especially
man.
if it is literally just that cutscene but modded.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
not even really Blanca. It's Johnny wearing the stupid Blanca mask from Dead Rising.
yeah.
But I'm really hoping with Street Fighter 6 we do see some like really oddball characters, you know? I think Street Fighter needs a new weirdo. Because who was by far the most well received new character of Street Fighter 5? G. And
Yeah.
G's the biggest fucking weirdo on the cast.
Yeah. When everything else fails, just become KOF.
No one in the KOF roster is as weird as G.
Xanadu.
That is true. Xanadu is still like it's at least like, oh, he's just crazy. But like G, it's honestly like you remember when that trailer first dropped and it was like, oh yeah, Blanca. Oh yeah, Cody. What the fuck is that, Abraham Lincoln?
No, I saw G and I was like, okay, so Q. I see.
Yeah. As soon as they announced that his name was G, we were all like, okay, so it's Q.
Yeah.
If it's not Q, then it's his brother. But yeah, it's like crazy hobo who thinks he's president of the world and has the world as a moving golden tattoo on his skin, who might accidentally destroy the world, also turns into a weird robot detective, and he's in this position because crazy Arabian prince decided out of nowhere to give him a bunch of money. Okay, what's happening? Uh,
Street Fighter 6's story mode will Street Fighter 6's story mode will just be Rose beating up Rashid over and over again. And that's it.
half the time in Street Fighter, they write Rose as being the like one person with her head on straight. So I guess yeah, that could work. Like I guess the really big question for story in Street Fighter 6. By the way, we've hit the bit on the bingo card where we go off on story. Either which way, the part of the question of Street Fighter 6 is: did they not confirm that it's going to be set after Street Fighter 3?
I think so. I don't. I can't say for certain, but I think so.
In which case, that means big things for a couple characters, especially G, because G should not be G. He should be Q
Yeah.
at this point. So what do
Or
they do about
yeah,
this surprise popular character who they now have to put forward into the shoes of a considerably less popular character?
Film Magic.
Sure.
They'll just give Q G's moveset.
That I do think that is like the most solid option. Though I would still I think people would still be mad though because Q does not have G's personality, and that is a big part of G.
Yeah.
I guess the thing would be like if they want to bring Rashid forward into Street Fighter 6, because Rashid was one of the bigger elements of Street Fighter 5, have Rashid like one of the things that sets off Street Fighter 6's story being Rashid peels the metal shell off of Q when he gets back to being G, right?
Yeah.
Either which way, yeah, that's Street Fighter 6. I think we pretty well we got an hour and 20 minutes out of those topics. All things considered, a fairly good bunch for a
And
week
we
with
have
no
more
news.
news.
We do?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
all right.
so I don't know if you remember or if you missed this, but they announced that there's gonna be a compilation of most, if not all, of the TMNT games for the 8 and 16-bit eras, I think. And
Yeah,
that
I think
include
those all beat 'em ups.
Here's the thing. That includes all 30 different versions of Tournament Fighters.
I have never heard of this game.
There was a TMNT fighting game where it was kind of the same game on every system, but kind of not, and they had and each version had its exclusive characters.
Okay, huh? All right, I've never seen this. It'll be interesting to find out about it then.
Yeah. Well, I think one has like Bebop and Rocksteady. One another one has Casey Jones, and maybe April is exclusive. I forget, and stuff like that. Like the SNES and the
Well, if the
Genesis. Yeah,
exclusives are like Casey or Bebop and Rocksteady, then what's the base roster look like?
the Turtles.
That's it?
Maybe Splinter.
Not even Shredder?
I don't think so. I think Shredder may have also been exclusive to a thing. Let me check.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now as well. How could you release a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fighting game with no playable Shredder
All
on
right.
most versions?
Okay, this is the Super Nintendo version. So the playable characters were Leonardo, Raffaello, Donatello, Michelangelo, Cyber Shredder, Vor, Aska, who is an original character, Chrome Dome, but that's for the SNES. What about the Genesis? Let's see. Does this tell me more?
Karai's cool.
You cut out.
I
Okara,
was just
yeah,
saying, oh, hey, Karai is cool.
yeah. Remember the animated movie from the mid 2000s where she was like a freaking protagonist or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's three versions. There's a Genesis version, there's an SNES, and an NES version.
Yeah.
Yes,
Huh.
the core roster is just the turtles because those are the only characters in the NES version.
Yeah, it's Street Fighter 1 style where you just pick a character and you battle all the other characters, but you don't get to play any characters other than the Turtles.
Yeah, and then Genesis has its own characters, but I don't. Okay, so yeah, the SNES version has characters has like enemies, I guess. Yes, yeah, and the Genesis version got Casey and April, I think.
I see. And also Ray Fillet and Sisyphus.
Yeah,
I gotta admit, I'm not the biggest Turtles fan in the world, but I've not heard of either of those guys. Also,
I
I like
yeah
Wikipedia having this little picture here of April O'Neil German suplexing Donatello.
yeah. That's her natural habitat. April O'Neil is known for
That's
German suplexing Donatello.
that's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, but yeah. So those games exist. From what I remember, Michelangelo is broken. Like it's nobody's as bad as like Sailor Moon or Sailor Moon, but freaking from what I remember, some of the turtles have dumb shit.
Explain.
Well, infinites, or at least one of them has an infinite, I think.
Ah, the mark of a quality fighting game.
Yeah, I think Raffaello has a Psycho Crusher too, but it's on like it's on the dumbest input, and I don't remember what it is. But it was on something like you wouldn't expect, like freaking down up.
Huh. That was around the same time as the notorious Power Rangers game, right? Where what's his name, Ooze or whatever, is like supposedly the most broken fighting game ever of all time, forever.
Oh yeah, because if you don't stand at a certain spot, then he can always like combo you or something like that, right?
I bet because I always hear like he's the most broken fighting game character that you can actually play. And I have to assume that it's like, oh yeah, full screen unblockables that combo into themselves infinitely. I guess
But yeah, it was
I'll
around that.
just assume.
Yeah, it was around that time, and also the Sailor Moon game. Which have you heard about the Sailor Moon game?
No,
Sailor Moon has a fighting game that was not balanced at all. I don't think.
must have been an easy fighting game to make though. So many of the characters could just be palette swaps.
Wait, is there more than one? No, the Bishojo Senji Sailor Moon as Jogai Ranto Shia, Shuyaku Sodatsen. I said most of that right. I like
Okay,
I like how I fucking stutter in English. I can read a Japanese immediately without actually trying, and it's mostly correct. I fucking stumble over the most easy English words. Anyway,
weird, weird shit happens.
Bishojo Senshi Sailor Moon S Jogai Ranto Shuyaku Sodatsen is a 1994 fighting game video game developed by Arc System Works and published by Angel for the Super Famicom.
I see.
That's all you need to know.
Old Arxis, yes sir. Hang
Ah,
on, I'm
shit.
gonna pull up a list of all Arc System Work games because I didn't. Okay, so they made the Sega Genesis version of Battletoads, the Sega Master version of Michael Jackson's Moonwalker.
Ah, that game is great. Sonic Drift. They made Sonic Drift.
Oh, they made Minesweeper for Game Boy.
Oh, nice.
Sweet. There you go. All the best devs.
We,
Okay, and then once you get to the actual like games they didn't make for other publishers, that's when it starts to be a lot of the classic fighting games, and then stuff that you have never heard of or don't want to hear of, like Arcana Heart.
ah, wait, are you telling
Ape
me?
Hunt.
Are you telling me that you don't like the classic arcade fighting game Animal Puzzle Adventure for the DS?
uh,
You know, for a second, I fucking completely forgot that Arxis made Basara Cross. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean Sengoku Basara? Wasn't Battle Fantasia supposedly good?
uh, good question. I actually don't know. I like the logo though because they didn't put the usual Arxis logo on it. They engraved the Arc System Works name on it. I like that.
Yeah,
We've now entered the phase of the podcast where we are no longer talking about things. You and I are both just looking at Wikipedia pages.
yeah. Oh, freaking. Anyway, so yeah, there is other news. If you wanna hit that. So
Yeah.
JoJo's.
Yes.
Yeah,
I do not know much. It's an update to the game that came out 10 years ago, right?
yeah. It's an update to the game that came out on the PS3. That was the PS3's flagship JoJo fighting game. The PS4's was bad, from what I understand. I haven't been able to buy the game because it's $60.
Yikes.
Yeah,
Is
it's
this one 2D or 3D?
this one is true. This one is 2D, but may have sidestepping. I don't remember.
Okay, and it is supposed to be good and not crazy dumb broken.
No, it's a Ksoge.
Oh, okay.
Like it's not a competitively good fighting game. It's a fun fighting game. Which
I see. Okay.
those two are not mutually exclusive, but this one is good in a different way.
And 60 different characters, right?
Yes, they because they're updating it. They also added characters who weren't in the last one. Or adding characters who weren't in the last one.
And a question here as someone who does not know very much about JoJo's. will the majority of these characters being added be Part 8 guys, or are they going to have to go back and fill out a lot of missing characters from the previous 7 parts?
I don't remember the roster of this game because I never played it. It was only on the PS3. But
Ah,
yeah. If you give me a second, I can look up the roster and then see. But yeah, All-Star Battle. That's the one. Alright, Wikipedia, your only hope. That was genuinely the second thing that popped up.
ah,
Ooh! You know who made this game?
CyberConnect.
Yeah. Fucking Naruto
Uh-huh.
people.
Ooh, that's a big roster.
Yep, today's a. What the fuck do you mean, Bao? Alright, cool. Bao was Araki's thing before JoJo.
I didn't know Iraqi made anything before JoJo.
He tried, it didn't take off. Who's Moon? Oh wait, oh okay, it was dumb freaking whatchamacallit, burning. Yeah. So yeah, they would have to.
I like the Part 1 Dio's power is just listed as vampirism.
Yeah. I mean, it checks out. You know, I do wonder how they will freaking do the names because they feel like they have to change the names for the localizations.
I'm imagining, yeah, they're probably gonna change. They're probably gonna change a lot of these.
Yeah, I wonder what. Yeah,
Did
go
the
ahead.
game get a actual localization in the West before?
Yes, but I don't
Okay.
remember the names that they changed it to. Oh, there it is. International
Well,
Edition name changes.
the Wikipedia list says that Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap is not changed, but they may
Yeah,
change
because
that for the new one.
well, yeah, but the thing is, they only refer to it as D4C because that doesn't. You don't know what they're referencing it with that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I
And
like.
that way they can probably keep it. In which
Yeah,
case, it'll actually change a lot from the translations.
I really like how they escaped being sued by by Lisa by making Lisa's name one word, completely changing it entirely. Shit.
Yeah, that's neat. The game could still be bad. It's made by CyberConnect, so in fact, it probably will still be bad. But it'll probably be fun. I'll probably pick it up at some point, even though I've never watched JoJo's, just from the insanity of it.
Yeah, from what I remember of people talking about it. If it has good netcode, then especially it may be a good pick. But even if not, then it's like it's very much just like a fucking combo med the game. If once you get used to its mechanics.
Dude, somebody at some point needs to make a like fighting game collection of shitty fighting games with rollback.
Yeah,
I want Super Fighter with rollback. I want Tattoo Assassins with rollback. I want, just keep going down the list, right? Of classic shit fighting games.
yeah. Which was the game? I'm forgetting the name of it. The best friends. The best friends. Fuck.
Oh boy,
The best.
one of them would say that. Sure.
Shit. The best friends. Definitely played it once before, but there's a game where I think it's the Shoro character, the main character guy, who has 4 different projectiles that all go in different like, directions and shit. I don't mean that as in like you can aim it. No, he has a normal projectile. He has a zigzagging one. He has one that just goes up. Like he fires it forward, but it goes up or something like
So
that.
this guy was so this guy was Omen 20 years early.
Yeah, like that guy also has like a Tatsumaki equivalent with like no frames. The game is just completely broken. That game needs rollback. Yesterday, I really like it. I really like how for part 7. Like I will probably at least try out freaking Johnny because I really like part 7. Johnny's gimmick is that he needs to gather the parts of Jesus. Like he's Phoenix Wright trying to present the case about Jesus' death.
Wait, his actual gameplay gimmick is that?
Apparently it's multiple people's gimmick.
So is it like a
Characters,
mechanic just for the part 7 characters that they have to assemble the infinity pieces of Christ?
yes. Let me read out the part. Characters from Part 7 Steel Bar Run have a shared unique status bar, which represents how many parts of the corpse they possess. For example, one piece allows Guido to use the scan move, two pieces allow Johnny to automatically restore his fingernail bullets, otherwise requiring a special move to activate, while all three pieces enable Valentine to use E4C, which makes him immune to projectile attacks, particularly those from Johnny and Hero.
Alright. Well, it's certainly very original.
Yeah. So, like, it's this game, like, we won't be going to evil with this game, but we would be having a lot of fun, especially if the netcode doesn't suck ass. Now,
There was
yeah,
there not at some point some tournament where they did actually bring on deliberately a bunch of shit games? There's like a Fist of the North Star tournament
yeah.
that very quickly turned into who can start the basketball combo first.
I think that was the Evo side tournament one year. Like, all of the side tournaments was just the shitty games.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me see if they are. Oh, here is the remaster. Do we know which characters are getting added? Okay, not yet. But let me see if I look for the
They did
name of
just
that
announce the
one.
game.
That is true. Let's see. Do we even have a
I
pet?
did notice
No.
there's no pet shop, which
Yeah,
good
then
choice probably.
Pet Shop is not into safe people. But who knows? Maybe with the remaster they'll add Pet Shop.
Um,
So yeah.
all right.
Anyway,
Is that about it for news this past week?
yeah, I believe so.
All right. So, you do anything fighting game related with your past 2 weeks? Because I don't believe
Yes,
I have for mine.
I actually have.
What's that?
So, I got all of the Naruto games again because I had it on my Xbox and I don't have a working Xbox anymore, and they were on sale.
All right.
All of the all of the nuns. I possess all of the nuns now.
My
But yeah,
brain got confused what letter starts ninja, so I was thinking, isn't it nuts?
my favorite, my genuinely my one of my favorite things with that series is that on the PS2, the predecessor was just called Nun, and then they multiplied. And then the
Like
predecessor, yeah,
there's a storm of ninjas now.
but no, there's a storm nuns.
Oh well, that's very different.
Yeah,
I just had a weird thought occur to me. How
yeah.
many fighting game nuns are there? Because there's Double and Skullgirls, and I remember I remember that what's that game the Nazi kid from
Akatsuki
Under Night
Blitzcom.
comes
Well,
from?
no, I want to call it Akatsuki Blitzkampf because that is one of the games in the series. I don't remember the actual name of the series because it's in German.
Right. Well, I believe Akatsuki Blitzkampf or one of the games in its series also has a nun character you can choose.
Yeah,
And that one isn't a horrible people eating monster like Double.
yet.
Yet.
No, that's her
Huh.
Dragon install.
Felicia's a nun. Felicia is a nun. And a pop star at the same
which
time.
which one?
Weird. Darkstalker's Felicia.
The one in the fucking the one who doesn't wear clothes.
Yes.
All right.
In her like in the cutscenes where is actually working at the nunnery or whatever, she is wearing the proper garb. And I want to say that she even has a round start animation where she's wearing the garb, turns around, sees her opponent, and throws the garb off.
Uh,
I want to say.
so by day she is a nun, but by night she's a furry.
Yeah.
She's a big
Why not?
furry.
She's a nudist.
Yeah, she is both.
Well, she didn't choose to be a furry. That's just the way she is.
That's true. But she did choose to be no, to be a nudist.
She would be a furry if she was wearing a fursuit on top of the. That would be so stupid. Imagine a cat woman and she's wearing a fursuit of like I don't even know, a dragon or something. I don't
Yeah.
know. No, she's wearing a cat fursuit as well.
But she paid extra, so it's the one with the freaking the Digitrade feet and shit.
Which she already has.
Yeah. Oh shit. She, she has the headband with the moving ears, even though she already has those ears.
Yeah. She's got a spot cut out for her own real ears, so it looks like a freakish cat with 4 ears.
Yeah.
I feel like if they do if this blatant Darkstalkers collection is a success, I feel like then if they were ever to do a Darkstalkers 4, they would have to at some point like directly acknowledge, okay, yeah, Felicia's naked. We don't know why she's like that.
Yeah. She there is no space under the non outfit. You have a separate outfit as well. But yeah,
Anyways,
I guess
back to nuns.
yeah, I guess. Do we want to count Bridget? He dresses like a nun.
That is true. I would count Bridget. Yeah, so that's 4 fighting game nuns.
Yeah. I feel like there was a nun in Dong Dong.
No. Dong Dong had the cowgirl, the 2 nurses,
Oh, now that you say that, yeah.
Iori.
Iori. You're right. It's just funny to say it like that.
She is entirely just Iori,
Yeah, I mean,
but a chick.
yeah, I mean, Dong Dong also has Akuma and
Yeah,
Mario, and somehow Mario is the only one who's not an actual person.
yeah. Well, they had the weird like test dummy thing too, which I don't think I ever saw that one in action. I don't think I've seen a video that actually uses that one yet. The construction worker man who was shirtless for some reason.
Yeah,
Bookman. The guy who's going for a swim at the pool.
yeah. That from Vine Sauce.
Yeah, I was about to say him, but I wasn't going to refer to him like that. Yeah. Male Iori. You got both versions of Iori.
Yeah, both Iori and Mrs. X or whatever.
Yeah. Main character man in a boring outfit.
Uh,
Hat man, the fedora man. Who could
which
forget this iconic roster?
which guy is
Oh
just
yeah,
Berserk? Like Guts from Berserk.
I've not seen that one. I can't recall him.
Oh, not Berserk. Shit, I'm mixing them up. Yeah, there's a guy who is just Kenshiro.
Yeah, that makes more sense. The there's the Lolita girl that summons Optimus Prime. Can't forget her.
As you do.
Yeah. Dude, it would be sick if Guts were in a fighting game at some point. You
Yeah.
can't really make a Berserk fighting game, but Guts being there would be cool.
All right. Hear this out. Namco fucking pay the money for a Dark Souls arena fighter with guest character Guts.
Nah. Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, there are so many characters in Dark Souls who are pretty well just Guts, though. Like, you can have Guts there, but you don't need to have Guts at the same time you have Artorias. That would be just pointless. I mean, Elden Ring's got a character who's just Guts. Like, what's his name? Blade or something, or Played. Hang on, I'm
Is
pulling it
oh
up.
yeah, is that the fucking werewolf guy that I keep hearing shit about?
Yeah, hang on.
Cause I
Here's
remember
the
people talking a lot. I remember people talking about a lot about just fucking werewolf guts.
Yeah, hang on. I'm putting them in the recording text channel. There you go. I mean, like Miyazaki's always been open about wearing his influences on his sleeve. So,
Yeah.
oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, no, I'm not. Anyways,
All
proceed with
right.
the nuns.
Yes. DOA has to have a nun.
It does not.
But they
I
have
don't
all of the
think.
fetishes. How is that the one they miss?
I think nuns are kind of a Western fetish.
Ah, okay. So Rumble
Because I
Roses
mean,
has to have one on, right?
I don't know very much about that series. I'm afraid.
I mean, is it a series where it's one game?
I thought there was at least two.
Oh, there may be. There was Rumble Roses and Rumble Roses XX. There was no Rumble Roses X Third, sadly.
And am I remembering things correctly? Did one of those two not have Tina Armstrong as a character?
I'm checking. I like how they have the alignment for all of these characters. So some of them are face and some of them are heel.
Yeah.
Right. I'm actually just gonna control F none. Okay, so the first character does not have a none. Or the first game doesn't have a wrong character. I can't be asked to read through this.
Yeah.
Alright, does this have a none? No. Alright, apparently Rumble Roses XX was a team game. Like only a team game. Good to know.
Weird.
Unlike the previous game in the series, Rumble Roses XX does not have a story mode. Hmm.
Heh. How am I supposed to know this important narrative?
So yeah. Friggin' Rumble Roses is a series. Y'all. Oh.
Eh,
Oh. Oh! So, multiple things. For one, the Rumble
uh,
Roses XX came out on my birthday in 2006. but also,
okay.
but also, Konami.
Yeah. That explains why there hasn't been a game since.
Yeah. Oh, the developers for the first one was used. That's why it didn't like, completely suck. I guess maybe.
Ukes made so many bizarre games. They made that Real Steel game as well, I remember.
I wish that Dukes actually got to do their thing with being their own freaking their own enemy.
Well, if Ukes got to make a wrestling game now without having to deal with the spaghetti code nightmare that is the modern WWE games, I'm sure they could produce something really good.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
like
yeah, go ahead.
whenever you keep adding shit and keep adding shit and keep adding shit onto one engine, onto one game for a long period of time, like it gets insane. And there are games that have only been in development for 5 years that have crazy spaghetti code. Only 5 years of support. WWE games, they have not changed their engine since what? The original
SBR 1.
SmackDown?
Yeah, I think SBR 06 or not or whichever 05 I guess would be the first one.
That would make sense. Did Shut Your Mouth and Here Comes the Pain both work on the Aki engine?
Maybe. I would be willing to believe it. Yes, but I'm not sure.
It
There
it
was
would make
definitely a
sense.
like there was definitely a big change between the first couple of SmackDown games and then say Here Comes the Pain, and then there was the same change in between Here Comes the Pain and SVR. But I don't know if that was just them changing shit around in the engine or if it was an actual engine change.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, like I like their idea of trying to make wrestling games on the side as well, just so they can have ideas, not freaking tied down by WWE, and then WWE fired them for the insolence of trying to improve their games. But yeah. So I think that's all the news. Oh yeah. We already moved past the news. I was talking about fucking Naruto.
It is
Yeah,
taking so long to hit the nuns.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm just gonna type into Google list of fighting game nuns.
Oh my god, we're still on this?
I guess. Okay, there's just nuns in video games and just pictures of Bridget.
I laughed so hard I could hear my laugh bounce off something metal in this room, and I don't know what.
Nice. It was the freaking it was the one sided window in the wall.
Yeah, that way people can take a shit while they watch me.
Yeah.
I like that the opposite of the usual perv mirror. You make it where while they're on the toilet they can watch me. Wait, what?
Shit. So yeah, the Naruto games. So I've beaten the first one and also the fourth one because I kept jumping between the two because there were big differences. And boy, going through the first one again, I was just like, man, this would be a lot more fun if we were recording and I could just riff on it. Because like I'm a fan of Naruto in the same way that I'm a fan of Sonic. Like I enjoy the games somewhat, but not really. Like I enjoy making fun of them more.
Yeah.
Like I like thinking like I like the opportunities that the stories they tell present, but I don't like the execution more often than not. And that's as far as the actual and that's as far as I actually like the freaking the product that they make. But yeah, so once we get around to playing through fucking Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm 1, that series will be like for one, I will have to consider some things because there is a grind. Because why not?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that one will be a pain in the ass. 2 and 3 will be an interesting thing because both 2 and 3 have their story mode like Ultimate Ninja 2 on the PS2 had, which is an RPG mode, actually.
Yeah.
And then 4 will be the easiest because that's just watching clip shows from the series, and then sometimes it's a fight. So
Yeah.
that's what we can just talk over for the most part. Four is also better in that four has an estimated time for all of the missions that it shows you before you actually go into doing a fight in the story mode. But yeah,
That is strange.
yeah. But gameplay differences. With Ultimate Ninja 1, you can still tell the I guess um the fingerprints of the old Ultimate Ninja series on the PS2 era because chocolate dashing was not as a big thing back then. It was more about air dashes, which Naruto has a limited amount of. But yeah, and just overall, like the the way combos are formulaic, but with the assists, it can have an interesting like you can have an interesting setup is what I'm trying to say because for example, in every fight in one, you can choose to play as whatever character you want that's already unlocked. So you don't have to actually play as fucking Naruto for most of the fights. So I went with Neji, Kiba, and Shino, and that worked out well because Neji's assist is a get off me button more or less. Shino's
Yeah.
Shino's is a projectile that also launches, and Kiba's ultimate attack um is very short range, but people can fall into it if Shino launches them. So figuring that out was actually fun. Like
Yeah.
it's not much depth, but there is depth. It's about there's about a spoonful of depth that 4 then puts up to 2 spoonfuls, you know?
Yeah.
And then for 4, obviously the leader change mechanic that I don't think you got to experience because I don't think it was in 3. The leader change mechanic is very good. Like it I kind of wish that there was our best of fucking I was going to say I wish there was a best of Naruto game that they made after this where they refine it a bit more and then just have that be the final one. Then I remembered, oh yeah, 4 is the best of Naruto fighting game because even Iruka is playable.
Who is that? Remind me.
Naruto's teacher before he joins Kakashi's team. Like he is the kindergarten
Oh,
teacher.
right. Did that character not stick around pretty well for the rest of the series? They'll just pop in every now and then to talk with Kakashi.
He did.
Weird that they never made him playable before that. Then.
Yeah. Like he didn't get he wasn't playable in the first game where it would make sense for him because he did have a couple of sparring matches with Naruto if I remember correctly, at least in the series. And then um the second and third game didn't really have a reason to add him, I suppose. And then with 4 they were just like they went the Ultimate Tenkai or not the Ultimate, the Budokai Tenkaichi 3 way of just hey, this character appeared on screen once. Why not make them playable and give them an actual like moveset?
Yeah. Good old Frieza minion is here, boys.
Yeah. I mean, we joke, but at least the samurai are not playable. The samurai, I don't know what samurai did do Kishimoto, but he fucking hates them. They are the big, there's the jobbers, there's the biggest jobbers, and they're the jobbers to the biggest jobbers. The samurai are in Naruto's world.
Was there not like the one actually fairly cool samurai who did something at some point?
Mifune, I think you're thinking of Mifune. He's the only one who actually has a name. Mifune,
Okay, yeah.
uh, his entire character is he is called upon so that they can hold a meeting for all of the Kages, and he's basically there to be the impartial observer, and that's his character. Like
But you
he,
could play as
yeah,
him in the third one, right? In 3?
yeah, you could play as him in the third one and also in 4.
Okay. So there's at least a little bit representation. There you go.
Yeah, and just like I actually like if the game is not gonna have a shit ton of depth, which 4 still has the most depth out of any of the Ultimate Ninja games. But if the game is not gonna have a shit ton of depth, I appreciate the sheer amount of roster because that means more move sets, which like doesn't mean much because you only have your beer baked strings, but you can still because of how the leader change cuts off movement and how chakra dashes cancel movement or cancel attacks, how freaking assists can interact with the shit. There actually is some depth to the fourth game, like a surprising amount, at least compared to the rest of the series.
Yeah.
And I also like the like how because every character is in the game, that you can have really dumb teams. Like if you want, you can beat the shit out of the fucking the biggest bad out of all of the series as Naruto's mom, and it's actually kind of like it's not quite canon, but it's really very close to being canon.
Did she not die giving childbirth?
Yes, and then she comes back from the dead to beat the shit out of the Nine Tails for a bit in Shippuden.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, I didn't know they actually did anything with her. My understanding was that's the one scene she got, and I was like, how did they just whole cloth manufacture a whole move set for her?
Well, they did just manufacture a moveset for her from her limited screen time, but she actually does come back in Shippuden to, um, I forget what the exact reason is, but Naruto has a problem with Kurama, and then oh yeah, he's trying to become friends with Kurama, and that's a big plot point. And as it turns out, like they had because of the fucking the dumb bullshit magic they used, they could choose to have a bit of both his dad and his mom in him that can trigger at any time. So his mom's ghost appears because I guess that felt like the right time to appear, and his mom's ghost helps him beat the Ninetales so that they can become friends. And that's actually in the
All
series.
right.
It's
All
very
right.
it's very dumb, but you know what? It's it's characters who are not Naruto actually doing shit. I'll take it.
Beggars cannot be choosers, I suppose.
Yeah. Freaking like the thing once again, like the thing going through all of these games and their story modes, for me is that these games follow the series pretty good, but they usually exaggerate things that happen, which would I think make it more interesting to actually watch for y'all when we get around to it, if we get around to it. Because you know what, like watching fucking Naruto is boring after a while. I should know I watched the whole series, but at least freaking in the game, CyberCraft was like, hey, what if we took this fight and we just made it a kaiju fight instead?
Well, I think with Hitman, we did like one episode, and from there we were like, oh yeah, it'd be good to do the rest of a series for this. I think if we were to try anything like with that in particular, especially if you want to include Pink, we would have to, I think, put it on a basis of if we have a really good time recording the first episode, then we'll proceed, you know?
Yeah, but with that, we would also need to decide a couple of things because like if we do that, the pilot should not be the first game because the first game fucking sucks. Like just
Oh,
overall.
no, I'm not saying we run through the whole series. God, no, just a single game. God, no, I am not running through the whole fucking series. No, dude, no, hard no. Like, oh, no, 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 no. I think like one game, I think, is enough just for a little curiosity. But I mean, the truth be told, it would mostly be for just making content on the channel. I don't think it would at all be something that particularly like for Pink especially it would be agonizing. But I don't think for any of us that's like a game that could inspire a whole lot of discussion besides just the talking about basically the basics of the gameplay, which couldn't last too long, and just reacting to the cutscenes and stuff. And a fair bit of it just being us explaining to Pink the dumb parts of Naruto. But like at the end of the day, I don't think that's something that could really make for long-term stuff here, and I don't want me or Pink to be, or you for that matter, to be entrapped into any like long-term deal that could get agonizing fairly quickly. And you're included in that deal because you'd have to be playing it, which is not fun. At the very least, I could fall asleep in the middle of watching it. I mean, you could fall asleep on the controller, but that would we wouldn't be able to proceed much beyond that.
Yeah, I guess my thing is that just like with some of the changes they made, some of the embellishments they made, we could make good jokes out of them, but you know it's the thing of trying to balance actually fucking getting there. Cause like
Yeah, that
because like
like the
we could
thing
make a
is,
shit ton of we could make a shit ton of jokes about Sasuke massacring every fucking one in whatever army the samurais represent. That's in the third game. But I also don't think we should do the third game because the third game is long. Like, you know?
well, and simple little jokes like that we can just make right now. Like the thing is, like you also gotta understand, like for these series go on a long fucking time for these single player games, and especially for long ass games like Nun 3 was. And for my part, I don't want us to get stuck into another Sengoku Basra commitment. Because there came a certain point after like 16 sessions of Sengoku Basra where I think where we just kind of went like, okay, we just need to wrap this shit up, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't want to get stuck into another one of those situations. I'd say like it would definitely be like a single session to start with. And maybe if it's like a really, if we all really enjoy ourselves doing it, which is the meat of what we're doing here, it's not really, we're not doing this for views. If we all really enjoy doing it, then we could move forward. And if we don't, then we can stop there.
Yeah. I just need to like because you know, like fucking the thing is that cutoff was so dumb in the games, I mean.
The cutoff? What do you mean?
Yeah, there's the story cutoff.
Oh,
Cause
right. Because Nun 3 ends right before like the actual like Madara business, doesn't it?
Yes, and then
Really
Nun
gets settled.
yeah, and then Nun 4 is just that. Like, the actual story mode is just that, and there's also a separate RPG mode. I don't remember what it does exactly. Like, I would need to go through it again just to make sure that it's actually, like, interesting.
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean,
the
I'd also say that if we did hit any of the games, we would not be touching anything except the story mode because that's again too much content and just kind of losing the focus of it.
yeah, that's why I'm saying that I need to consider because, like, Nun 4 would be the most fun to actually play, but the story mode of Nun 4 is 3 hours, maybe. If you watch all of the cutscenes and I don't just skip them and give you a freaking update on what's happening in the story, which we could also do, and then it would be like half an hour.
This just doesn't sound well built for it then, because then that would just be, "Hey, Pink, here's the final battle of Naruto. All right, now you get it. Leave." Like what? No. The yeah, I'd just generally say like a lot of this just isn't well built for a lot of it. Because I mean, like even for me, like I bought Nun 3, like I don't know, this is probably a decade ago now, and played through it. And starting out with that, I was as someone who had not seen Naruto since they were a kid, and probably the last thing I saw of Naruto was Orochimaru killing the fifth Hokage, or was it
The
fourth?
third one.
Third.
Yeah,
Oh, right. Either which way, yeah. Like that was confusing enough for me in that moment. And for Pink, who is someone who has never cared for Naruto and has no intention of ever caring for it, that already would just be kind of confusing. Like honestly, like the more I think about it, like the more it just seems like this couldn't work. I'm sure that there's fun jokes to be had, I'm sure, but like it just, I mean, it doesn't sound like it could produce something particularly funny or cohesive or fun for most of us, right?
yeah. There is,
Like
however
there are jokes to
yeah,
be made at the expense of Naruto, and there'll always be jokes to be made at the expense of Naruto. But we can also make them from the convenience of sitting in our chairs right here, you know?
yeah. There is also, however, a DLC that I didn't have previously, so I need to also check that out, how that works exactly. That's just a fucking movie that leads into Boruto, and you can make more
I
jokes there,
ooh,
probably.
uh,
I mean, the thing with that though is that, like, I don't know if that would require too much prior knowledge of the freaking the thing, because that like that switch was literally them just wiping the slate clean.
that I'll be honest, that sounds like something that put me to sleep.
What do you mean you don't want to watch Naruto beat up 5-year-olds? I think that happened. I don't remember if it was the movie or if it was the ending of Shippuden, but there is like a scene of Naruto actually having to fight like Genin so that he can advance in ranks so he can be officially made Hokage.
It's Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Did you do anything else this past week, Addy?
Well,
In
for
terms of
fighting
fighting games,
games.
past 2 weeks.
Hmm.
I'm in shut your mouth lounge mode here.
I have no clue. I don't think so, no.
All right, I believe we could probably call it then.
Yeah.
Fighting games, war.